Let's take a look at another gift. This gift actually was not just for me. Oh boy. Some of you may remember this gift. This was actually a present that was given to me and to my two brothers. For you young'uns, this is definitely before the internet and before computers. I'm going to pull it out of here. This is called Electronic Battleship. And it says with live action and sound. Ah, it even says computer. A computer memory game. This was it. This was what every boy, and maybe girl, wanted. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Oops, don't want to drop anything. Use two 9-volt heavy-duty transistor batteries. And that is what this ran on. And there's the battery. Let's see. It only has one battery in it right now. I'm not sure if it will work with just one battery. But this lid goes on top here. To secure the battery. Right here is the on-off button. Shall we give it a try? It's not actually working. It may need a new battery or two. Usually when this was turned on, you would hear maybe a sound of the firing of a gun and then a little beep that said it was working. There's the instructions. But my brothers and I got this one Christmas, and we were very excited. There used to be a cardboard version of the Battleship game. You can actually play Battleship even just with two pieces of paper and a grid. When I was a school teacher, I would have my students play Battleship, more of an academic nature. I think it was with vocabulary words. But this piece right here sits right here between the two sides. So it blocks the view from each player. And if you've never played Battleship before, it's a really cool game of strategy. Let's take a look at these pieces here. Give me just a second. These Ziploc bags have lasted. I'm not sure how long they've been there. I don't think they're the original pieces or the original bags. Oops. Guess I dropped a piece. Pick that up. This is just one of the ships. There are about 4 or 5 different ships. There are actually apps or computer programs that actually play this same game. But what you would do is, without your friend seeing what you were doing, let me zoom in just a little bit, is you would put your ships on different parts of the board, horizontally and vertically. You can't put them diagonally. But you wouldn't tell them where your ships were located. Instead, what you would do is you would program the location of all your ships once you put them here, and you would match up by looking at the letters. It's kind of hard to see them. A, B, C, and so on, all the way down to J, to be matched with a number from 1 to 10. And what you would do, in this case, this is D8. So you would take these knobs and move them over and match them up. It's D8. And you would punch these 2 keys before you started the game. And I think then you would push the fire button to enter it into the system. And then it was locked in, and that way the computer knew where your ships were located. Naturally, location is a very important part of navigation and aeronautics and just everything, GPS today. So entering your location was a very important thing. So it wouldn't be unrealistic to expect someone to log in their locations and their quadrants. I think that's probably part of real life. I'm not an oceanographic scientist either. Boy, I'm really not scoring well. I don't know tons and tons about science, but the little bit that I've picked up. And then the other player would do the same thing with their ships, which I won't do right now. And they would program their ships. And then, once that was done, you could begin to play. And you would switch the mode. In fact, that's one detail I forgot to mention. In order to set your locations, you had to set it to load. And both of you would load your ships. On this side of the game board is the load and go switch. And on this side was the on-off button to turn the unit on and off. Once both of you had loaded your ships into the system, you would switch load to go, and then you would take turns. But you wouldn't have to ask each other. In the paper version, in the cardboard version, you had to say the quadrant numbers, such as D8. If the other opponent said D8, you would say hit, or you would say miss. And then in the paper version as well, in the cardboard version, as well as this one, you had these pegs. White was for miss, and red is for hit. And these little trays were where you stored all your pegs. So if my opponent pushed the buttons for D8, then the computer would make a sound of a firing bomb, and then you would hear an explosion, which means I would know that he had hit D8. And so I would put a peg into my boat, and he would put a peg, or she would put a peg on his board here, not where his ships were. This is supposed to simulate water. He would go up here to this board and go to D8 and put in either a white peg or a red peg, depending on if he hit my ship. Once each person took turns, the first one to sink or hit all the ships was the winner. It was a lot of fun. It really was. My brothers and I enjoyed this. So that was Electronic Battleship. And I'll take time later to put that all away.